Welcome inside the first Knicks in 6 of the new year 2022. Bill, great to be alongside of you. And because I have no New Year's resolutions for myself and I have not been to the gym yet,
You're perfect. You don't need to change anything, right?
Hardly. But you know what? I will say thank you to that. Let's talk about the Knicks, though. Resolutions for the Knicks in the new year for 2022. What would you like to see?
Well, first off, really glad that you're back and healthy. That's really the most important thing as we begin this Knicks in 6. Number one for me, speaking about health, no more COVID for the Knicks. No more health and safety protocols. My fingers are crossed, Rebecca, that I don't have to say health and safety protocols for any Knick for the rest of the season. They're all out. They're all out of health and safety protocols. We had Julius Randle come back with a great game. We had Mitchell Robinson only missed one game. Nerlens Noel, we wait on him. Jericho Sims is out and available. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this is it.
Yes, and at the top of the pregame show, I would also like to add that you never again have to toss to me and say, for more on the 11 players in health and safety protocols, let's go down to Rebecca. So yes, I love that one. That actually might be my favorite one of the year. How about this for a resolution? I would like to see the Knicks get into top 5 in rebounding, because Coach Thibodeau talks all the time about this team needing to be consistent in terms of their rebounds. Right now, they're 9th in the NBA. And for them to get into the top 5, I think is a very reasonable goal that would bring them more consistency and more wins. And for some perspective on that, Memphis is only a couple rebounds ahead of them overall. They're averaging 57 a game. The Knicks are at 54 and Memphis is in first. So again, getting into that top 5, very reasonable.
Great point. I also, for me, in terms of the new year, I want to see RJ Barett continue to attack the basket like he did in the win against Indiana. He is a totally different player when he just goes hard to the basket and he doesn't put up all the threes and he doesn't settle for the outside jump shot. Changes the whole dynamic of his game. When he goes for 19 points in the first quarter, the best quarter of his entire career, because he's going to the basket. So my second New Year's resolution is RJ, keep doing that.
Love it. Yeah, he was fantastic last night. It opened up so much for the Knicks that he was able to get to the rim and attack, and then it just left him open for the threes that he did shoot ultimately. So I agree with you. And sticking with some of the impact players, I'm going to say, how about this one for a New Year's resolution? Mitchell Robinson averaging a double-double for the remainder of the season. Granted, he's not that far off from that, but I think if the Knicks could get him into a position where he feels like he's back to some of the basketball that he was playing last season before the injuries, that would go a long way, not only in terms of him quarterbacking the defense, but also picking up the pace and being able to play alongside Obi with some of those dunks and all the other things that he's able to do if he is in that second unit, if Nerlens Noel goes back to that starting role.
I also, Rebecca, in the new year, want to see Julius Randle continue to be efficient. All the props to him to miss 2 games in health and safety protocols, to come back and put up the night that he did against the Pacers. Yes, he had the great rebounding numbers, but to me, the most important metric for him in the game against Indiana and going forward is the shooting percentage. 12 out of 20. When he goes 12 out of 20 and is that efficient, he puts up his best games. We saw it Christmas Day against Atlanta, and we saw it again against the Pacers.
What I really loved about his performance was that he wasn't forcing any shots. You know, he made a lot of great mid-range shots instead of trying to step it out and force a 3. And when he does that, when he gets to the basket, when he can play at all 3 levels that way successfully, it makes him so much harder to defend. And so I agree with you that I think he can kind of find that consistency and rhythm. And, you know, I think he's going to do that. I think we're going to see that from him. You know, talking to him about the quarantine period that he had last week, he said it was a really great mental reset for him. He talked about how when he tested positive in Oklahoma City, he was able to get home to Dallas and he wasn't feeling any symptoms. And so he was able to use that time to really sit back and rest his body and recover and mentally reset, as he said. And I feel like we saw that pay off against the Pacers. And I think that's going to put him in the right space moving forward to really have a solid rest of the season. And that brings me to my third resolution, which is I want to see these guys go 14-7 at home for the remainder of the season. Right now they're at 8-11. They have 21 games left. I know they're not happy with their home record. And if this team wants to make a run and get themselves into a playoff position, they've got to protect home court. And I think 14-7 is a very realistic goal to launch them into the top 8 in the NBA.
If you want to look short term here, schedule-wise, 7 of the next 9 are at home, Rebecca. And of the 9 next opponents, only 1, as we sit here taping this segment, Dallas is above 500. So this is a key stretch. A lot of parity in the conference. A lot of possibilities here in the new year to move up, that's for sure. Awesome. Great to be back with you. I'm glad you're back with us.
Thanks, Pidto. See you in a couple days.
All right. Thanks for checking us out here on Knicks in 6.